I am crippled in both legs and childless, yet I still sit firmly in the throne outside the palace. Everyone says the emperor and empress are deeply in love, but everyone in the palace understands that I am only a figure with no substance. Concubine Xiao is the Emperor Zhu Yang's one and only darling, a gentle and frail physician girl. She is lifted up beyond the rank to become a concubine, and Zhu Yang loves her and protects her, probably because many years ago, on a night of wind and snow, she risked her life to save him, and since then she bore an illness, and I, this empress, have been resenting Zhu Yang for half my life. In the final moment of illness, he unusually sat by my bedside for a whole night, his throat tight with emotion. This life, I owe you too much. I have always understood that the person I met on that snowy night was you, and your legs were broken because you saved me. Just Xiao is fragile and innocent. Without me she cannot live. You have to understand, if there is a next life, I will never betray you. I cannot rest in peace, and I truly wait for the next life. It was still the night of wind and heavy snow. I drew the bow to the full moon, aiming at the man teetering in the snow. The day of my final moment has come. Zhu Yangshan wore a dark silken gold cloak, drooping his eyelids as he looked at me. Sitting quietly the whole night, I was as faint as a thread of life, with only a breath left. When I opened my eyes and saw him, I closed them again. The twig-like fingertips curled silently. Can't help but mock myself. It truly shows that the dead are supreme, to the extent that even my enemies are willing to come to see me off at the moment of death. Even so, I hate him, and hate myself for marrying him. What of the title of the queen, disability, childlessness, merely a stepping stone for others' prestige and the subject of private ridicule? The world will only praise him for his magnanimity, tolerance, compassionate and loyal. He remains, not abandoning a wife like me. He gains both fame and status, but the one who suffers is me. I was once dashing in bright clothes and full of vigor. If I hadn't saved him, how could I have fallen to this state in that vast snowy field? I swallowed the sour taste in my throat, supporting him as we shuffled forward, until the snow reached my knees and I could no longer feel anything. I exchanged Zhu Yang's life with my own legs. Before losing consciousness, he entrusted him to the village healer at the foot of the mountain. Young and full of vigor, I was willing to give everything for the person I admired, not caring about gains or losses. How I hate that he never believed me. Goodbye. He became the wife-mate of that female healer. He only insisted that Xiao Ru saved him, and despite my explanations again and again, it only drew his suspicion and dislike. General's mansion actually raised a daughter who pretends to claim others' favors. Xiao Ru's timid temperament hid behind him to look at me, her eyes damp with a touch of fear. Zhu Yang felt sorry for her. They slammed me out along with the wheelchair. Rude action. The wheelchair tilts over. I fall to the ground in a daze, watching Xiao Ru hide into his arms and wipe away tears, watching him softly coax her, speaking in gentle tones and care. A couple deeply in love. I seem to have become the villain in a tale everyone condemns, from childhood sweethearts to the present bred with hatred. Zhu Yang and I spent more than 10 years. All these years, the pain in the air has always trailed me like a shadow. Even though my leg is gone, why does it still feel as if it's there? I toss and turn, grit my teeth, fingertips turning white from the pressure, and I haven't slept well for a very long time. I am dressed lightly, thin, sitting exhausted through night after night. I watch the window as, the fierce wind battering the palace walls, the entire palace wrapped in a blanket of pale whiteness. Finally I fall gravely ill and cannot rise. Empress. His voice hoarse. Why do you refuse to look at me? The hall was deathly silent. The faint rise and fall of my chest showed I still had breath, but I had no strength left to speak. He reached out, and the warm palm cupped my hand, gently gathering it. Wn Ning. He called my name, and my throat tightened. This life, I owe you far too much. I have always understood that the person I met on that snowy night was you, and your legs were broken because you saved me. It's just that Xiao Ru is gentle and innocent. Without me, she cannot live. You must understand. I suddenly lifted my eyelids. He pulled out a plum blossom bead flower, one petal missing, but I still recognized it. The gift he gave me when I entered the palace at 8. He said that day he woke up groggily, eyelids covered with snow, unable to see clearly which girl was bearing his load, only a faint pink color in his hair, with a small pearl dangling, swaying. He, by some strange whim, picked it up and pressed it to his chest. After his high fever subsided, He forgot some things. By the time he remembered, he had already become practically husband and wife with Xiao Ru. What's done is done, and he chose to go on with it. He understood the knot in my heart and, before my death, essentially acted like a human once, willing to reveal the truth. But what about me? Only the moon is cold and the days are warm, cooking away a person's life. Since he already knows everything, he watches me suffer in silence, always ordering me to be meek and gentle and see the surge and unwillingness in my eyes clearly. He spoke softly, I give you the position of empress, so you may become the most honored woman in the world, the model of mother to all under heaven. You've done very well. If there is a next life, I would marry you again. On the surface, it looks splendid enough. Those who are unaware are blinded. That is stupidity. The betrayal with willful knowledge is evil. My teeth chattered, and a tear slid from the corner of my eye. Another heavy snowstorm blew outside. Fierce winds gnawed at the window, piling snow to obscure my faint breath. Zhu Yang's eyes moved slightly. Seeing my lips quiver, he bent down to listen carefully, waning. What do you want to tell me? I pressed close to his ear, gritting my teeth with all my might, and said, if there is a next life, I will kill you, Empress Dowager. The old eunuch shouted shrilly. The Empress Dowager has passed away. I opened my eyes, panting with rapid breaths. Miss, you're awake. Chundao the maid pushed the curtain aside and came in, carrying a tray with a hot cup of tea. What did you call me? Miss, you've fallen into a deep sleep. I froze for a moment, lowered my head to look at my hands, then pulled back the quilt to see that my legs were intact. Chundao was still chattering on and on. Miss, you slept so deeply. I pressed my palms together and slowly buried my face, shoulders trembling, laughing and crying at the same time. The afterlife's relief swept over me like a wave. Heaven took pity, whether it's reincarnation of the past or just a dream of a golden millet, a fleeting illusion, even to return to a moment when everything could still be undone. Spring Peach sets down the tray and hurries over. Miss, what happened to you? I look up and wipe away tears at the corners of my eyes. I only ask, what day is today? 22nd year of Yong'an, Chundao said with worry. Miss, are you sleepy-headed, or have you been at odds with His Highness the Crown Prince in recent days, making you faint with anger? Miss, you should also calm down. It is said that you want to see the snow lotus. His Highness will immediately set off to seek it at the distant mountains. The snow lotus hides in the crevices of rocks, hides in the icy ravines, extremely hard to pick, and your Highness set off without a moment's hesitation, all to make the young lady happy. She sighed with envy. Your Highness has always granted the young lady every request, truly placing her at the top of his heart. Year 22 of Yong'an, the Empress issued a betrothal edict. I have just become the crown princess in waiting, in the prime of Zhu Yanjing's love. No one in the city was unaware. I silently curved my lips into a smile. I plucked the beaded flower from my hair, broke it in half, and casually tossed it into the nearby stove. Go prepare a horse for me. Ah, miss, where are you going? Your Highness, find me a snow lotus, then of course I will also prepare a gift in return. As I said, if there is a next life, I will definitely kill him. An avalanche suddenly bursts forth. Zhu Yang is forced to scatter with his companions. Now swept by the sea of snow, he lies on a vast, white, directionless plain. He instinctively fought to survive, shuffling heavily forward with each slow, laborious step. He looked up abruptly and saw me standing not far away. Quietly watching him, I came rushing over, still draped in a bright crimson cloak, a striking color, like a red plum. Standing on the snow, he almost spotted me at a glance, and a look of surprise instantly surfaced on his pale, weak face. His cracked lips curved into a smile as he gathered all his strength and rushed toward me. WN Ning. I also offered him a faint smile. Soon, he froze on the spot because next, I slowly drew the bow to full draw. The arrowhead aimed at his head. Before he could utter a sound, suddenly slackened the strings. The north wind was biting, the snow truly heavy, and the arrow hit his shoulder, tilting it sideways. Zhu Yang broke into an expression of incredulous pain, clenching his teeth. He blurted out 3 characters. WY, he surely wants to understand it but cannot. The fiancée whom he has cherished in his heart, with such deep feelings, why did she suddenly kill him? This is the ending you deserve, I said softly. If it weren't for me exchanging my life for his, He should have died today. The wind and snow grew stronger. In my heart I only felt a swift pleasure. In his frightened gaze I drew out a second bow, a third arrow. He toppled over with a thud, his face hitting the steep stone. It stained a wide swath of crimson. On the way here I marked the path along the route. It would be easily covered by wind and snow. I cannot stay long. Take one last look at the man lying motionless on the ground. I feel a mix of relief and regret as I think it would be better to cut off his head. The crown prince is missing, and the capital is in chaos. Some people blame me, saying, "The crown prince disappeared on purpose to please me with life and death unknown." There are also people who mock me, saying I have no fate to become the crown princess. Mylin Cottage, where the young ladies admire the plum blossoms, their laughter carries far. That person nearly could have married into the Eastern Palace, but alas, they are lucky yet unable to endure the hardship. The younger half-sister Shen Yunju covered her mouth, unable to hide the gleeful schadenfreude in her tone. Chun Dao frowned, deliberately raising her volume. "Miss, beware of the steps." Amid the astonished gazes of everyone, I appeared calmly from outside the main door, a circle of pure white fox fur, soft hair around my neck and collar, my expression indifferent. Big elder sister. They fell silent in an instant, trembling as if chilled. Walking up to Shen Yunju, I looked up at her. "Say it again." She bit her lip, her apricot eyes full of defiance. "After my mother died, my father took her mother as his legitimate wife. She, relying on her mother's favor and also leaning toward Ju Yang, often clashes with me. I mean that auntie, blessed by misfortune, can still honor her father at home for a few more years." The tone carried a bit of sharpness, sarcastic and disdainful. I raised my hand. She instinctively closed her eyes and shrugged her shoulders. "You're right." I simply poked her with my index finger. She was surprised for a moment. "It seems I didn't expect things to take this turn. I understand she isn't bad at heart. Maybe she's still resenting that I won the championship last polo match." Unintentionally pushing her off the spotlight again. In a previous life, Shen Yunju came to see me once. At that time she had just won the poetry gathering first place, and she was eager to flaunt it. One hears the voice before seeing the person. "Sister, you're in bad health every day. Are you afraid I'll surpass you?" I'm in the middle of changing the dressing. She suddenly ran into my wound. I awkwardly covered it with the blanket. She stiffened suddenly, her eyelashes drooped, and pearl-sized tears fell. She hurriedly turned her face away. "I don't know what's going on. Sand keeps blowing into my eyes." At the door, she started avoiding me, and I never saw her again. Later I happened to hear news about her, that she was domineering and whipped someone, and was punished by her father. They say punishment, but it was only a few light scoldings, because after I broke my leg, I privately became a topic of gossip. It was she who couldn't stand it and rushed out. "Are you saying there's no one left in my general's residence? A bunch of dogs that only eat until they're full and then act as if they own the place." 6 months have passed, and Ju Yang has vanished without a trace. There are people in the court who are plotting, urging His Majesty to appoint another crown prince. The Emperor's dragon body is weak and cannot support for many years. My father has also started to think. He came quietly to ask me if I have any other thoughts. He wants to find me another husband. Anyway, the crown prince is gone. One day I'll find an excuse to request cancelling the engagement. I poured him a cup of tea, my expression calm. "No. Older brother has led troops in the northwest for many years and has not returned home. Father, I want to go and join the army. I come from a military family, skilled with bow and horse since childhood, versed in military tactics, leg broken, married to Ju Yang, completely trapped in the backyard for a lifetime. I, with a clear conscience, stand with Ju Yang to be a crown princess, to be empress, to bear the pressure without a single mistake, to do everything best. Yet the world only praises me as Ju Yang's virtuous and capable wife, as his vassal to share his worries. It seems to be my greatest value. I don't want to go through days like this again." My father was about to speak. "General, young master and young miss." His personal guards rushed in, cupping their fists in greeting and reporting, "The crown prince has been found." The teacup in my hand spilled. Boiling tea water ran in a circle along my fingers, an iron-like pain. My lord father hurriedly asked, "Where is your highness currently?" Following intelligence, someone claimed to have seen your highness's traces near Chen village. Chen village, the village where Xiao Ru is located. I careless wiped my hands with a handkerchief. Once, then again a couple, seem to have deep fate. The thatched hut sits among the bamboo forest. A woman in the small yard dries herbs, wrapped in a rough cloth headscarf, dressed shabbily. She protected her slightly swollen abdomen, moving carefully. It was clear she was already pregnant. She looked up at me. She stood up and came out, with a gentle and kind smile. "Miss, is there something you need?" I was speechless as I met her gaze. In a previous life, aside from being born into a criticized background, everyone praised Xiao Ru as wonderful. She bore Ju Yang 2 princes and a princess, with boundless holy favor, yet she never leveraged her favor to be arrogant. Her disposition was gentle and kind, and she was warm to everyone. She even feared displeasing me, proactively suggesting living in the farthest side hall. She would forever be a pitiful, good person. It seems that only a handful of evil thoughts have landed on my head. No one knows she took credit for my work. No one knows what she did to me originally. My legs could have been saved. It was with tearful eyes that she begged Ju Yang to invite the divine doctor to come first to safeguard her pregnancy. After the divine doctor came out of her courtyard, he slipped and fell, his wrist and veins disrupted, and he could no longer lift the needle. I missed hope by a hair, completely losing both legs. Grinding her teeth, she went to seek justice. But Ju Yenku guarded her firmly. Fate and retribution are not yours to meddle with. Why drag soft into this? Come to her senses. The wind brushed through the bamboo leaves, making a rustling sound, and sunlight filtered through the gaps, casting speckled shadows. "The weather is nice today." I take out Ju Yang's portrait, smile and ask, "Have you seen this person?" She examines carefully, seemingly recognizing him, showing a hint of caution. "Miss, what are you looking to do with this person?" "It's my fiancé, missing for over half a year." "No, I don't know him." She forced a smile to drive away the guest. "Miss, why don't you ask elsewhere in another village? I'm going to rest. Please leave first." I hid my smile, grab her wrist, staring into her eyes. "Dare you lie to me? I really don't know her." Cough. She starts coughing violently. I brandish the dagger, in a grim tone. "Give you another chance to know them, or not to know them." "Stop!" A furious shout rang out. I turned my head to look. A man with his face wrapped in gauze, in rough clothes and hemp, carrying a bamboo basket on his back, only revealing a pair of dark, sunken eyes. He dropped the basket full of firewood and shouted, "Who's the crazy one here? Let go of my wife." Ju Yang and I have known each other for decades. Just by looking at his figure, I could recognize him. It seems he has lost his memory again. "Ah, Yang." Xiao Ru struggled to break free, shook her head with tears. "Don't mind me. You go quickly." Two lowlifes. The tip of the knife pressed against the skin of her neck, and I softly asked, "Do you know what happens to those who lie to me?" Ju Yang's eyes reddened. "You dared not." I pressed the blade harder downward. Xiao Ru let out a frightened sound as blood gushed out in an instant. "Wait a moment." Ju Yang forcibly halted his steps. I flicked a light glance at him. He clenched his fists hard, his expression restrained. "My wife is naive about worldly matters." Perhaps it was an unintentional remark, an inadvertent offense to a noble person. On her behalf, I apologize to you and ask for your forbearance. Noble one. He finally felt afraid. "My wife is still pregnant. I beg your excellency to show great mercy and let me do anything. Just please don't hurt her. The baby she is carrying should be the eldest son, Ju Jin, the former future heir to the throne." Ju Yang has pampered him so much that he acts lawlessly, and behind the scenes repeatedly calls me a disabled person. I've caught him once by accident. The attendant, terrified, covered his mouth. He wouldn't back down, pelting me with small pebbles. "My mother consort is prettier and healthier than you. Why should you not yield the position to my mother consort?" In this life, I raised my chin toward Ju Yang and smiled. "Kneel down and beg me." Without hesitation he did so, his head bowing to the ground, his voice quivering uncontrollably. "Please, please, honorable one, spare us and our family of 3. Are people like you the most despicable?" "Yes, now I'm so miserable that I look like a dog." "Quite fitting. Is this what you deserve?" He slowly raised his eyes, his gaze sorrowful. "Yes, it is, all for the likes of a wretch who deserves it." Xiao Ru kept crying, shaking her head. She seemed unable to bear it. "Stop kneeling, Iron. I told you." "Miss, I'm telling the truth. Actually he is." Hiss, in Ju Yang's eyes, about to pop out of their sockets. Blood splattered onto my cheek. "Do I allow you to speak?" My dagger pierced through her throat from front to back, all the way through. Softly, I pulled out the knife and wiped the blood from my jaw with a faint motion. I tilted my head to look at him. Don't hurry, it's your turn. I returned to the mansion with night frost on me, steps swift, expression icy. A figure stands in the corridor. It was my father. His tone is equally heavy. Today's assassination of the Crown Prince. Hurrah, what is going on? I take a deep breath and reveal a smile again. Dad, it was all a misunderstanding. My heart is with the prince. I hurried to find him, and there I encountered an impudent village woman. She concealed the truth and even dared to rebuke me. I punished her on the spot, only to learn she was hiding the prince and treating him as a slave to be commanded. I nearly harmed him by mistake. If it hadn't been for the commander arriving in time, I fear a grave mistake would have been made. But my daughter already acknowledges her fault. I use this same rhetoric to appease the embroidered guards who came to rescue Ju Yang next week. Unable to kill Ju Yang, I reluctantly threw away the dagger. Crouching and apologizing, Ju Yang crawls and scoops up Xiao Ru's corpse, begging them to save her, panting hoarsely. Fear and grief thunderingly echo, covering up the laughter I spill out to the side, also slowly covering that little bit of unease in my heart. Xiao Ru is dead. Let bygone sins be a matter settled at last. The night was heavy as water, and all was quiet. My father was silent for a long while before asking, "How are you doing now, Your Highness?" Amnesia. I've forgotten a lot of things, and also, I paused, struggling to suppress the inborn curl of my lips. A half-damaged face, presumably a heavy blow suffered, with scars left by untimely treatment. A trace of worry tightened my father's brows. He naturally has ways to obtain information, knowing that Ju Yang and Xiao Ru were once husband and wife, and I not only killed Ju Yang's wife and his unborn child, but nearly killed him as well. No matter what era it is, it's a capital crime to behead, he sighed. Hurrah, this is not easy to handle, Dad. Since ancient times it's said that the emperor's appearance and physique are auspicious, but now, whether the crown prince can still inherit the throne, that's another matter. Moreover, he isn't the only heir apparent. Many people below are staring at his position. I didn't say the latter half aloud. My father lifted his eyes to look at me. I understand that he already understands without words. You have changed a lot. Enough. Your mother left early. You have always been the daughter I love most under my knee since you were small. Do what you want. I will do my best to protect you. In a past life, he advised me not to marry Ju Yang as well, but I didn't listen. I stubbornly insisted on going my own way. I always thought Ju Yang would change his mind and remember my kindness to him. I thought that once he remembered, we could mend our old friendship, but reality slapped me in the face. He knows everything. He just doesn't want to let Xiao be aggrieved. Tighten the fingers in my sleeves slowly. Love and hate, grievances and enmity. I no longer bother to distinguish right from wrong, just feel very powerless. The second time, I still can't kill Ju Yang from now on. Killing him again would be as hard as climbing to the sky. Destroying his face seems to be the best outcome. There are hidden currents surging in the palace. I hear Consort Hui personally pleaded to save me. Only a light and not too heavy punishment of copying Buddhist sutras. The eunuch Zhao loudly finished reading the decree. She laughed and said, "Miss Shen, you are really lucky. The noble consort begs the emperor to your side, claiming it was only a thoughtless act. This world is full of portraits of the crown prince being sought, yet the village woman privately hid the crown prince for half a year, concealing her illicit feelings. If not for this, the crown prince's injuries would not have been delayed and would not have received proper treatment. I bow my thanks humbly." Gong Gong Zhao cast a meaning-filled glance at me. "Your Imperial Highness, the consort has me relay a message. If Miss Shen sincerely gives thanks, she should go to the palace to see her." I understood the underlying meaning clearly. Fortune has brought the great selection for the second prince, she deliberately hinted to me. Concubine Hui and the Empress have been contending openly and covertly for half a life. She will seize the current situation for herself. The Shen family holds an official rank of first class, and commands military power. Aligning with either side is a great boost. Consort Hui is trying to wedge me away from the Crown Prince faction and side with the second prince. I, your humble servant, am naturally grateful and moved to tears, only that the engagement with His Highness the Crown Prince is drawing near. I am stretched for time and truly regretful. My father, in his early years, Found a rare treasure that comes once in a century. Please take it to show filial piety to the noble consort, madam. Eunuch Zhao received the item. He said nothing. Pityingly threw at me the last look. The empress has complaints about me. Zhu Yang risked himself for me. She has always harbored a grievance about this. I only taunted Zhu Yang, and publicly during the palace banquet said that he need not trouble himself for me. It was Zhu Yang who insisted on taking the lead and wanted to go to the snow mountain. The Empress Dowager was helpless. She could not blame me, nor was she willing to miss the marriage alliance with my family, but Zhu Yang does not think so. He has just been brought back to the palace and is slowly adapting to his position. He is still immersed in the grief of losing wife and son, and would never marry me. The initiator of all this, I guess his first thought would be to sentence me to death. To repay with his life. What a pity, he ruined his appearance. In these days when he is gone, the court is full of shifting and treacherous winds. Many people are watching and waiting for him to fall. He cannot touch me, only able to retreat and concede. He is forced to threaten with death, prompting the emperor to issue a royal decree annulling the engagement. A gust rose in the city, a childhood sweethearts, a match made in heaven, only to end in the most awkward of fashion. Truly, it is something to sigh about. Send off Judge Zhao. Shun Yunzhu hid behind the door, bursting with joy. Dad, do I have a chance to marry the crown prince? My dad glared at me. Idiot. I knelt in the prayer hall, copying sutras, exactly 49 times. The surroundings are silent, sandalwood fills the air. I close my eyes, and the copied sutras gently rest on my knees. All conditioned phenomena are impermanent. They are the formations that arise and perish. When birth and death are extinguished, nirvana is peace. I entered the path of death and turned to rebirth, gaining 2 lifetimes, yet I feel more restless and unsettled, clearly safeguarding both legs, killing Xiao Ru, retracting the engagement, yet I always feel a fever at the heart, an uncontrollable vexation. When I opened my eyes, through the curling smoke of incense, I saw Zhu Yang's tall figure stride in, as if a pebble dropped into water. Circles of ripples rise in my heart. Suddenly, my spirit is struck with blessing. So what if Zhu Yang destroys his appearance? He has the Empress shielding him, limbs sound, and in the future he may still inherit the throne. Even if not, he can still enjoy wealth and honor, and be a leisurely prince. Not enough what he has tasted of. Bitterness is far from enough. I want him to thoroughly and truly taste the pain I endured back then. Piece by piece, Zhu Yang covers his mask, still only revealing a pair of eyes. I kept kneeling on the mat, motionless. Your Highness the Crown Prince, Shun, Wn, Ning. He ground his teeth as he spoke to me, eyes narrowed slightly, as if savoring it, but more out of hatred. You humiliated me, killed my wife and child. How do you expect me to repay this feud? I lowered my eyes and sighed. Your Highness, I've known you since we were children, have always sought you wholeheartedly. Blame her for not reporting the truth, even though I gave her a chance. By now, don't you repent? He stepped closer to me. They say you and I were very close since childhood, but why do I not see any remorse or sadness on your face? Shun waning, harming the lover, should such an expression be? I raised my face and let his gaze roam freely. Your Highness, shut up. He suddenly grew angry. He drew the dagger from his waist and held it to my neck. A dart flew in at once with a flick of the long sword. The frigid air numbed Zhu Yanzhu's jaw and he stepped back 2 paces. I turned my head with him and looked outside. A man in a blue robe, with refined features, spoke softly. Older brother, the Pure Land of Buddhism is not a place for bloodshed. It was the second prince, Zhu Ku. Zhu Yang pressed his lips into a cold line. Seeing someone coming, he restrained his anger, flicked his sleeve, and left. Zhu Ku's gaze fell on me. Miss Shun, are you frightened? I shake my head. Silence for 2 seconds. He slowly walked toward me, looking down at me with a clear smile. Miss Shun, now that you have lost your engagement, I have no suitable lady. If you could, I would like to ask you to marry me and make you the principal wife. A straightforward, blunt tone, not so much expressing feelings as negotiating a deal. My backyard is simple. I have no interest in romance, and I'm not keen on taking a concubine. I will respect you and protect you as the only mistress of the royal mansion. From my understanding across past and present lifetimes of Zhu Ku, he is indeed a good man, caring for the people and knowing how to entrust the right people. He would be a good choice to become emperor, but he is not the candidate I have in mind. I am tired of a life that sacrifices the self to pave the way for others. And I am even less willing to be a tool for someone else's seize of power. I stand up, supporting my weak knees. I will try to speak as politely as possible. Your Highness's kindness, I gratefully acknowledge. My father has already gone into the palace to petition the court, and today I am to accompany the army to the northwest as an advisor to the war council's attendant. His Majesty has approved it. Dooku was stunned. After a long moment, a bitter smile finally appears. Then I'll preemptively wish Master Shan a swift victory. Leaving the capital, we head toward the northwest frontier. My accompanying retinue is grand and well equipped, sweeping out of the city gates as the people line the streets to bid us farewell. On the same day, Zhu Yang would go as well. I am not surprised, even that was expected. He volunteered to guard the princess for Xiao Ru, resisted selecting a concubine, and in the face of great difficulty, he planned to achieve a notable feat to strengthen the crown prince's position. Now the four seas are peaceful, only the northwest remains unsettled. He has no other choice and only one road left. Forced to travel with me, the two sides and forces converge together. Zhu Yang rides at the front, with the horse's tail tied high, fluttering in the wind. There is a strong shadow of the once spirited youth. I stood behind silently observing. In this life and the next, my path has changed greatly. After I saved him in the previous life, I entrusted him to Xiao Ru. I borrowed a wooden wheelchair again, returning to the capital with my hands alone, taking half a month, the palms worn bloody and raw. He immediately sent people to bring him back and return him to the capital. Who would have thought? In just over 10 days, he had already established wife and husband with Xiao Ru, and he insisted on bringing her back. For her, he would not marry anyone else. I vaguely guessed that his memory recovery was probably due to someone loosening their tongue and agreeing to marry me during that period. By then, a year had passed since he was brought back. He relies on that bead flower to recall memories now without a token, the time from the previous life has no reference significance. When will he recover his memories if he remembers? I smiled. I remember that I killed him on the snowy mountain, and the expression on his face must be very interesting. With the emperor far away and the royal court behind, his life may not be entirely in his own hands anymore. He seems to sense my gaze. He glances sideways, and the sword in his hand is half an inch drawn from the sheath. The killing intent goes without saying. I respond with a smile. A mid-journey rest. Shen Yunju sticks her head out from the carriage curtain and loudly complains, "I'm hungry. I've heard the northwest border scenery is unique." She insisted on coming. "Big sister can go. Why can't I go?" My father frowned and refused. It was her mother who whispered softly and persuaded for a long while before she finally got permission. Say that Shen Yunju should go see the world and temper her mind before departure. Her mother tearfully bid farewell to Shen Yunju, then turned and pressed a peace talisman into my palm. "Zhua is naive. You too will have to trouble the eldest sister along the way. The road ahead is long and perilous. May both of you stay safe." Zhu Yangkai rode up. He was very close to me, but he stepped over my shoulder and handed a box of palace pastries to Shen Yunju. "Miss Shen Qi, for you." Shen Yunju froze for a moment, then, touched and flattered, took it gratefully. "Thank you, Your Highness." Zhu Yang stood upright, the upper half of his face covered by a golden mask, revealing only a sharp jawline that gave off a sexy tension. A blush of shyness spread across her cheeks. I quietly tucked away the provisions. A gust of wind blew in, and Zhu Yang suddenly reached out, gently brushing the disheveled strands of Shen Yunjue's hair from her forehead. The gesture was overly intimate. He glanced at me. Her eyes held a cold emotion, with a hint of teasing mockery. I immediately understood what he meant. Perhaps someone helped him recall the times when we were inseparable, and he believed my intense love for him, my deep emotions for him. I killed Xiao Ru. Why can I still feel no guilt? Because I originally held a grudge that Xiao Ru had stolen him away from me, with extremely strong jealousy. This is his thinking. That's why he deliberately got close to my half-sister on my father's side. It's irritating. Just thinking that this is his means of revenge makes me want to laugh. My lord, Miss Xiao Ru's 7th day has just passed not long ago. I think your idea of taking a wife can be temporarily set aside for a while. Shen Yunju hurried up to speak first. "Hey, you've already broken off the engagement with the Lord, so why are you worrying about so much?" Zhu Yang treated my sardonic remarks as envy, let out a cold laugh, then left. In the next few days, they grew closer and closer. Shen Yunju became increasingly happy in front of me. How much Ju Yang cared about her. As he deliberately boasted, I propped my book inside the carriage and read, without lifting my head, in a faint voice. Shen Yunju, don't be fooled by others and not realize it. Nonsense. I see you just can't stand to see me doing well. I stopped paying attention. Carriages and steeds gradually moved along the narrow path into the deep mountain forest. Stop. Shen Yunju could no longer contain her temper, so she simply picked up her dress and jumped down. She ran on with a light jog to the front, to look for Ju Yang. She wants to prove to me that he is sincere to her. Your Highness, I have something to say. To you, go over there to talk. She pointed to the distant hidden by the branches, clutching her clothes at the chest, her small face flushed red. It was obvious what she wanted to say and what she intended to do. Ju Yang pressed his lips tightly. The nearby subordinate stepped forward to admonish, Miss Shen-Chi, this is not proper etiquette. I lifted the curtain and looked over, right meeting Ju Yang's gaze. Shen Yunju looked dejected and was about to retreat. He suddenly spoke, good. Before leaving, she especially instructed, not a single one is allowed to follow. Immortal Shen, Miss Seven is. The nearby guards were full of worry. Let her go. She liked Ju Yang, and in childhood she also enjoyed dreaming of becoming empress. I have said all I can. She will make her own choice. I will not interfere. After half a stick of incense, a signal flare suddenly rose into the sky. Someone is in danger. Everyone suddenly felt like they were facing a formidable enemy because that was the direction in which Ju Yang and Shen Yunju had left. The farther they moved toward the border, the more dangerous it became. Here the terrain was complex, with bandits entrenched in the mountains. The two left alone were soon targeted. Ju Yang is skilled in martial arts, but his old injury hasn't healed. Shen Yunju only knows simple boxing and kicking techniques. When faced with vicious criminals, she is utterly powerless. When we arrived, all we saw were traces of struggle on the spot. Ju Yang's entourage suddenly blacked out, almost fainted. Your Highness, how did you lose it again? I take a shallow breath, my palm pressed to my chest, the talisman under my clothes pressed close to my heart. I overestimated Shen Yunju's cleverness. Footprints on the ground are messy, winding forward to indicate the direction. Perhaps it's not too late. I turned my head and gave orders. I'll go over first. You notify everyone to get into position. I'll mark the route along the way and stay on the first possible moment to catch up. There are more than 100 people in total on both sides, equivalent to a squad of elite troops. We can handle it. The bandits tied the two of them and dragged them back to their old lair. Seeing that I was the only one left at the base of the hill, he sneered. A woman dares to risk her life as well. It seems these two are very important to you. If you want to redeem them, each of you must bring 10,000 taels of silver. Nearby, Ju Yang and Shen Yunju were tied up with 5 flowers and a rope. Shen Yunju cried, Big sister, sob sob. Ju Yang hung his head, unable to discern his expression. They did not bring that much silver on the expedition, I said. Set aside the other conditions. When I couldn't produce it, the scarred man in front, with his eyes darting about, suddenly smiled grimly. Then shall we play a fun game? He ordered people to hang Ju Yang and Shen Yunju at the entrance of the camp, and then again, threw a bow and arrows at me. Choose one of two. You pick one. It seems one is your dear younger sister, and the other is your lover. Perhaps. I bent down to pick up the bow and arrows, not pausing to argue about his words. I only asked, if the dead are left behind, can the living take them away? Of course, it depends on how you choose. The palm and the back of the hand are both flesh. It must be hard to choose. Right. His underling immediately started jeering and clamoring. Scarface eagerly stared at my face. I can't wait to capture the look of my inner struggle and pain. I just crisply answered, okay, bearing the bow, aiming, all in one go. Shen Yunju trembled, closing her eyes, not daring to look. Her crying was thick, yet there was a strong backbone. Elder sister, you should choose His Highness. I'm afraid if you pick me, there will be many heads rolling throughout the entire household. Ju Yang's eyes fixed on me, seeing me holding a bow. His expression flickered with a subtle hesitation, as if it stirred some memory, a sense of unease. There's nothing to hesitate about. This time I aimed steadily at Ju Yang's head, about to let go. Your Highness. Ju Yang's attendant hurried over. The relief army had actually arrived. My fingertips trembled slightly. and the arrow shot out at lightning speed. Shen Yunju screamed. The arrow tip narrowly brushed past Zhu Yang's face, unexpectedly knocking off his mask and revealing half of his scarred, monstrous face. Shen Yunju was scared and cried out again. Scarface spat disdainfully. Damn, this is so ugly it makes me sick. Zhu Yang was suspended in the air, for everyone to gawk at the hideous and terrifying scars on his face. He suddenly turned his face away, the tips of the ears blush with shame and embarrassment. This counterfeit is staffed by only more than 30 people in terms of numbers. We have the advantage. The scar-faced man knows he cannot defeat them, so he releases the 2 people, slashes his great knife across, and uses them as hostages to threaten. Stay back. If any of you dares to come closer. I didn't finish my sentence. Slain with a single arrow to the throat by me. Warm, fresh red blood splattered onto Zhu Yang's face. His eyes were blank, his lips slightly parted. Unable to utter a word, the guards behind swarmed in. The bandits were leaderless, their formations collapsed, and they scattered like birds and beasts in all directions. Your Highness, I arrived too late. Zhu Yang's attendant rushed over in a hurry. The 2 were quickly untied. Shen Yunju rolled and crawled, clinging to my leg. Sob sob. I won't dare to contradict you again in the future. I'll absolutely obey you. If you tell me to go east, I will never go west. After speaking, she cautiously glanced at Zhu Yang. The terrifying and ugly scars completely shattered her girlhood dream. Startled, she immediately looked away and said, "From now on, I'm the best in the world with the elder sister." I put away my bow and moved her to the other side, not turning around. Go back, Shen warning. Zhu Yang slowly stood up, his eyes red. Why did you save me? Do you know, I've wanted to kill you for a long time. My steps paused. I turned to look at him and let out a soft sigh. I do not regret it. I am not some savior of his, after all. He was stunned for a moment. Uncomfortably, he turned his head away. Night beside the campfire. Zhu Yang, for once, sat next to me and handed me a drumstick of wild chicken roasted to perfection, speaking in a low voice. We are square now. I somewhat understand why they all say you and I are best friends, or perhaps you aren't really a bad person after all. Maybe everything, maybe it was all a misunderstanding. The upper half of his face was re-wrapped with gauze. I tilted my head to the side and peered, only to see his lips moving incessantly, muttering in a tone gradually tinged with pain. But when I think of Ruru's dying scene, my heart aches so much that I still cannot forgive you. Shen Woning, why did you save me and force me to face a dilemma of no retreat? After a brief pause, he seemed to have made up his mind. I can take you back, but every year you must go to Ruru's grave to bow before her and the child. Let me see your repentance and sincerity. Okay, the bonfire is in front. I casually tossed in a log. It cracked and sparked, warming the cheeks of the faces. I let out a soft smile. Your Highness, we originally had a betrothal, and she stole you from my side to claim you for herself. Why should I repent for a thief? I said this purely to disgust him. Unexpectedly, Zhu Yang did not speak to refute. Instead, he frowned and sank into thought. Another sound of argument came from the other side. The accompanying Inspector General scolded Shen Yunju. If it weren't for her insisting on pulling Zhu Yang aside to talk in private, things would not have nearly caused a catastrophe. Shen Yunju lowered her head, longing to hang down to her chest. Zhu Yang recalled the embarrassment of being watched today, and his face inevitably turned a bit ugly. We wait until we finish speaking before we speak. The young sister is young, playful by nature. Why bother arguing with a little girl? The words fall, all eyes turned to look at once. The censorate inspector's eyes widened even more. Lord Shen, my sister nearly harmed His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Lord Lin, don't get excited. I had good intentions, and it wasn't intentional. Besides, isn't everyone standing here peacefully? I smiled. The topic shifted, turning to Zhu Yang. Your Highness, you personally promised to go at that time. I think you won't mind. Our eyes meet. The corners of his lips sagged inch by inch, his words biting hard. Shen Wanning, there is no such favoritism, but she nearly lost her life as well. Your Highness, your little sister is weak and childish. I beg you to be more tolerant of me. The previously easing relationship has once again cooled to zero. Yes, yes, he sneered and stood up to leave, his sleeve nearly brushing my face. The supervisory inspector took a deep breath, and the breath stuck in his throat, neither going up nor down, feeling like I was about to pass out from the lack of air. This Shen Yunju didn't expect me to protect her this much. Throw yourself into my arms and cry bitterly. Big sister. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I won't hold you back anymore. I'll go back right now. I pondered for a moment. Her fingers unconsciously caressed the back of her long hair. Good, this time I'm taking too many things on the expedition. Some are a burden. I asked someone to sort them out, and you should bring them back with you as well. It'll also let me travel light and reunite with the elder brother sooner. As we move forward, the road becomes increasingly difficult. Zhu Yang wore a sullen expression. Unwilling to move forward with my team, he walked ahead quickly, and from afar I could only see the tail of their regiment. Her temper was still not small. After dinner, I went to find him, speaking earnestly. Your Highness, listen to me. Zhua is my sister. It is my duty as an elder sister to take care of her. You, a grown man, should be magnanimous and spare her this time. She has already returned to the manor. If he ignores me, I'll follow him. When he gets annoyed and turns around, he runs into my smiling face and the palm of my hand showing cleaned hawthorn. Don't be angry, your health is more important. His throat rolled. Consider yourself perceptive. He had been feeling awkward for days, but he finally agreed to take the stairs down. Just as his hand reached out, his fingertips almost touching my palm, I suddenly spoke up. Who's there? A figure flashed nearby. I turned my head and chased after her. Hawthorn scattered all over the ground. Zhu Yang was startled for a moment, then immediately followed as well. When he arrived at the scene, I was knocked unconscious on the ground. The two big men looming nearby, itching to move. Lucky this time, we caught a woman to take back as our bandit queen. Zhu Yanglai rushed over in a hurry, not carrying signal smoke on him, immediately drawing his sword and shouting coldly, "Let her go." The two big men are no easy targets. In the midst of the fight, he was slashed on the right arm, the wound deep to the bone, yet he stubbornly forced himself to push people back with a fierce effort. Damn it, this kid is like a mad dog. Let's go, don't dawdle too long, or everyone will be drawn here. Zhu Yang used his sword as a crutch, half knelt, gasping for breath, enduring the pain as he looked at me lying on the ground. The tone was furious and resentful. One life for another, Shen Warning. This time I truly owe you nothing. He struggled to lift me onto his back. Crows flew over the treetops, their dark, harsh cries echoing. Zhu Yang walked away from me toward the camp where we were stationed. Each step was hard to take. I peeled open my eyelids and sniffed the strong smell of blood on him, and my heart began to count down. 3, 2, boom. He fainted, collapsing to the ground with me. I steadied myself, stood up, and brushed the dust from my clothes. Two burly men waved at me from not far away. My lord, how did my brother and I perform just now? The next day, Zhu Yang and I returned to the camp together. Only, he was carried back by someone, his face extremely pale. I came back walking from another direction, on my own, his lips pale as threads. He opened his eyes and saw the military doctor tending to his wounds. His gaze slowly swept over my face, a relieved smile spread across his lips. Thank goodness. Are you all right? I also forced a smile. Yes, His Highness is concerned. Yesterday I had terrible luck and was captured by mountain bandits. But fortunately a barefoot physician who travels the world saved me. As I spoke, I frowned and turned my head to ask someone else. What happened? Yesterday an assassin wounded His Highness. Zhu Yang's pupils trembled slightly, his voice sharpened a bit by excitement and disbelief. Who saved you? I clearly saved you yesterday. I let out a squeal of laughter. I know you hate me. Stop this kind of joke. Besides, I was caught in the east, while you ran into trouble in the southwest. His face grew paler and paler. Shen Waning, you don't believe me. In fact, hardly anyone believes me after all. His hostility toward me was obvious from the start. Okay, let's not talk about that for now. You should focus on recovering, I began to change the subject. Bandits are indeed frequent in this area. Everyone, stay vigilant at night and reinforce patrols if possible. Zhu Yang struggled, swatting away the army doctor who pressed down on his hand. He yelled at me, Shen Warning, get this straight. He pointed at his injured hand. This, I almost had it chopped off to save you. And this too. He ripped off the bandage on his face, revealing the crisscrossing scars. Facing the public gaze directed at him, he rasped out, growing more and more agitated. They say I only did this to please you and end up looking like this. Why are you pretending not to see? Aren't you supposed to love me very much? I saw it all. So what? After glancing around, I tactfully said, Your Highness is emotional. Please take care to reassure everyone and be careful not to delay the treatment. Shen warning, don't go, stay and speak clearly. Behind him, his voice grew more desperate. Why won't you believe me just this once? What would happen if you were a bit nicer to me? I think it would be as miserable as in my past life. Zhu Yang grew agitated to the point of fainting from dizziness. The edge of the blade was smeared with poison. He is badly wounded. His right hand is very likely to be beyond saving. The military doctors accompanying him are all veteran court doctors. The medical skills are excellent, and there is room for further improvement, only missing a medicinal herb called elderflower. Unfortunately, their team recently suffered thieves. The herb stash was looted clean in the medicine warehouse. I'm also looking troubled on my side. The elderflower was already hoarded in excess before, so it felt burdensome, and I just asked Zhuo to take it back not long ago. What a pity. Military doctors looked at each other in blank confusion. Seeing the despair in each other's eyes, Zhu Yang woke up through the tent. I heard his venting, furious curses when a few army doctors crawled out. They looked miserable, each of them battered, with blooded heads. I leaned against the trunk, leaves swirling and drifting down slowly. I reached out and caught them, and laughed to myself. Karma is inevitable for you. Why blame others? The anesthetic is gone. Zhu Yang fainted in pain, woke up, fought fiercely with his head hitting the ground, and then fainted again. When he wakes up again, his right hand is gone. I go inside to see him. He stared at his empty right hand, his face a blank, stupefied expression, like a lifeless humanoid wooden sculpture. Disfigurement. Disability. There is no one in the world who needs a king like this. This is fated. He will never have the throne again. I spoke softly. Your Highness. His eyes stiffly turned toward me. The incident happened suddenly. Don't be sad. I've already contacted officials in the nearest city, and dispatched people to wipe out the bandits. By the way, that barefoot doctor has good medical skills and a kind heart. I take delight in a fictional character I made up, otherwise I'll invite him to come treat Your Highness, so the wound can heal soon. What do you think? I believe he can definitely do it. After all, if he hadn't been there that night, I would have been in grave danger. Enough. There are such shameless people in the world, taking credit for themselves and feeling at ease with it. You'd better fetch that shitty doctor, or I'll kill him with a single sword stroke. Zhu Yang's expression twisted. He strained every nerve to howl. And you, Shen Waning, you will forever owe me an apology. I clearly have such a good life, above 10,000 people beneath one man. I suddenly calmed down, gazing straight into his reddened, furious eyes. I gently curl up a smile. Hey, everyone has their difficulties. You need to understand. Stabbing yourself with a knife won't feel pain if you can't reach your own body. Just like he told me before, Xiao is fragile and innocent. Without the emperor she can't survive. You need to understand. Is she innocent? No, he pities her. Always telling me to be patient with her. It's nothing more than because she carries a congenital illness from birth. Whenever she's frightened, she'll suffer palpitations severely, from mild fever to near-bedridden weakness. In this life, Zhu Yang was picked up by a hunter who had gone out, and carried to Xiao Ru's home. In the previous life, he never thought that a delicate and weak Xiao Ru could bring him back alone from the snowy mountains before recovering his memory. Perhaps he had sensed it. He just refused to believe it before. I thought he had only been blinded, forced to be trapped in the game. Looking at it now, he is a wretch. Zhu Yang drew his sword to seek death. The trip was forced to be delayed. I lifted my foot to step in, and the person didn't die as planned. Curled like a clump of dead water on the bed mat, the attendants were frightened and dared not raise their heads. I said to them, "Go out first. I will take care of His Highness here." Zhu Yang heard my voice slowly. Turning around, he stood there, staring at me without moving. I was looking at him too, new injuries added to old ones. He looked more miserable than before. He scrutinized me from bottom to top with almost crazy intensity, muttering continually in my mouth, "So good, like budding willow branches." Full of life, he seemed to have become a different person, yet he was familiar, equally disgusting. Do you know, the you in my memory is always dead-eyed, eyes full of murderous anger that makes one wish the whole world would die, and only when you were outwardly putting on a show did you crack a hint of a smile. So I always hated meeting you, even though you were so vibrant in youth, just like now. How come? How come I still haven't married you as my wife? I say, I know, always knew. Do you remember what happened in the last life? Forgot in this life. Nearly died under whose arrow? He gasped abruptly, and when he realized, he was horrified. You, I sat beside him, in a very good mood. Your Majesty, does it hurt? Is it painful? How does it feel when no one believes you, and everyone treats you like a madman? But you must understand, after you did so many wrong things to me, paying the corresponding price is only fair. Her chest began to rise and fall violently. He spoke bitterly. After you die, I will be sad too. There will be no empress again, because in my heart, only you are my queen. I didn't expect you to hate me so much. The day you died, you said that if there is a next life, it's not to rekindle our past relationship with me, but to kill me, right, or else. I smiled, raised hand, the slap crisply flinging onto his face. You've just relived everything I've been through, just one day, and you can't bear to commit suicide, but don't forget, those days of pain I endured for so many years. He turned his head heavily aside, blood streaks at the corner of his lips, his tone desolate and helpless. He closed his eyes. I can't tolerate this broken version of myself. It's really painful. I'm sorry, WN Ning, I'm sorry. To this day I only then deeply understand your suffering. A person like Xiao Ru is indeed despicable. Consider it as me once being blind in the eyes and dumb in the heart, cherishing someone who didn't deserve love. But in this life, I did not betray you. You killed her, and you still can't forgive me. I stood up and cast a glance at his painful expression. You owe a debt from a past life, and this life will repay it, so you want me to die to be satisfied, is that it? Do you dare to go on living, ugly and disabled? He falls from the clouds into the mud, tormented day and night by the pain of phantom limbs. Will he dare to go on living that night? Zhu Yang attempted suicide again, slit his throat. Saving a life is noble, but alas, he could no longer speak. Before reaching the frontier, he was forcibly sent back, unable to unleash his ambitions, and ended up with injuries and disabilities. The Empress Dowager resents him for not living up to expectations and is very disappointed in him. Zhu Yang received the news midway that he had been dethroned and that the second prince had been proclaimed heir. Repeated attempts to take his own life ended in failure, and the man began to lose his mind. At last, he seized the moment when others were off guard. He kept swallowing pebbles, and the manner of his death would be gruesome. Before dying, he cut his index finger and wrote a string of apologies in blood. Sorry, who is it? He didn't say anything. Even an abandoned prince would not be cared about. The corpse was roughly wrapped. This is his final fate. When I heard the news, my squad had already reached the northwest frontier. Across 1,000 miles of desolate Gobi, yellow sands fill the sky, distant snow-capped peaks gleam, and where heaven and earth meet, everything is a muddy yellow. I gaze into the distance. I see my long unseen elder brother charging toward me on a horse. He wore a hopeful smile on his face. Sister, thanks for your hard work. From today onward, we will fight side by side. I nodded decisively, my heart surging. The restlessness, hatred, and resentment vanished with the fierce wind, disappearing completely. New opportunities and challenges slowly unfold. I know the life that belongs to me is only just beginning. The end. The first story ends here. Don't go away, the next stories will be even more wonderful. I have been the old master's concubine for more than 20 years, and I bore him 3 sons and 2 daughters. Everyone says, you may be a concubine, but your master not only did not marry a proper wife, he doesn't even have another concubine or a chamber wife. You're alone, and you're no different from the main wife. You're only missing one thing, your background. I firmly believe so. After all, the facts are as such. But just when the old master was inspecting suitable wives for my son, I only commented a few sentences on the future daughter-in-law. The old master exploded with rage. Are you a concubine, to be dictating to the main wife? Suddenly, she drove me to the mulberry field again. I was full of grievance. When the children came to see me, I could not help but complain, but my eldest daughter told me, that wasn't the eldest brother's wife selected by our father, it was the legitimate mother father chose for us. No, how could that be? That young girl is only in her teens. I find it a bit hard to believe. The voices have become noticeably sharper. Your dad is already in his 40s or 50s, and you kids too. which blind to the world high-born noblewoman would be willing to marry your father as a wife? I don't believe it. Eager to leave Zhuangzi, but my daughter blocked my way, hugged me, and whispered in a low voice, "Mother, please, I beg you, don't make trouble." I don't want to listen to her words. I don't believe the master would treat me like that. We have been together for more than 20 years, although I am only a concubine. He has never been bad to me. The family's intermediaries are in my hands. The money is all spent by me. Regarding the few children, I am decisive and unyielding. Why, at the end, would you want to marry a wife? I roared as I rushed outside, but my youngest daughter suddenly came up and gave me a shove, hard enough to knock me to the ground. Have you caused enough trouble? You still have the nerve to make trouble. Why aren't you born into a prestigious family? Why should I have to crawl out from inside your belly? The eldest daughter hurried to support me, then turned around to scold the younger daughter. What are you doing to mother? You have no sense of propriety at all. But the younger daughter only laughed, though her eyes were full of hatred. Mother, big sister, you must control your mouth from now on. The bride who comes in is Our Lady, and her we can only call Aunt Servant. Speaking of this, she could no longer hold back her sobs and shouted at me, "What exactly are you? Yourself? Don't you even know yourself?" The reason my father never remarried all this time is that, given his status and position, he could not marry a noblewoman from a high family, so he took a concubine and had children first. Now that he has reached a high position, of course he must marry into a distinguished family. Do you know, if it weren't for the 5 of us protecting you, you would have already been sold. I stood there stunned, struck by lightning. Indeed, there is such a custom in this dynasty. When one's status is ordinary, first take a concubine to bear children to keep the ancestral line unbroken. When one comes of age and gains status and position, one then seeks to marry a noblewoman from a prestigious family. If the other family makes a demand to send away the concubine, then she should be sent away again. When the master initially chose to marry me, he considered it this way as well, but he had already risen to power many years ago. Why didn't he marry me at that time? It's the son who is about to marry that suddenly butts in. I opened my mouth wide and for a long time couldn't regain my senses, still couldn't help asking. But your father didn't marry before either, the younger daughter sneered, because he looks down on the daughters of high-ranking officials. What he wants to marry is a daughter from a powerful noble family. Yes, you're right about his swagger. He probably won't settle down at home, but will take a wife from a virtuous, noble clan. And you still despise his arrogance. If you marry my elder brother in the future, you'll likely look down on you, give you and my elder brother a hard time. And so what will become of you then? I am here to be the family matriarch. Do you think I came here to make you this concubine's daughter-in-law? The younger daughter scolded me severely. She ordered me not to make any more trouble, otherwise I would be sold off. The eldest daughter wants to soothe me, but she is pulled away by the younger daughter. Stop soothing her. The more you soothe, the more she gets worked up. She can't even recognize her own identity and status now, and if we go along with her, we're doomed too. Since that day, none of the children have come to see me. I want to send letters outside, but I can't get them out. I have to spend money to grease someone's palm, but no one dares to accept it from me. Gradually, I realized I had been placed under house arrest, pampered all my life. I can't stand this grievance, and I can't help crying at night. Only the mocking and sneering of Mr. and Mrs. Zhuang. You've been in charge for so many years. Do you really think you are the legitimate madam? The master has treated you well enough, taking care of your meals, clothing, and expenses, and you still aren't satisfied. Now even your children have to fawn over the new madam, and you still can't recognize yourself. I never imagined that one day I would be scolded like this by a servant, and I felt both anger and hatred in a moment. My blood rushed to my head. I fell ill directly. No one came to see me. The couple in front of the village head casually bought me 2 bags of herbs to decoct for medicine, saying, "It can heal. If it can't heal, then die. If you die, the master and the new madam will also feel comfortable in their hearts. If it weren't for seeing that you gave birth to so many children, you might have been taken away in the future, and we wouldn't bother dealing with you." I'm burning with dizziness, and in my heart there is only the sadness and grievance of being abandoned. Am I not wanting to be a wife? It's my background that forbids it. I may be from a respectable family and pure lineage, but when my lord took me as a wife, he was already a 7th-rank official. the disparity in status is like heaven and earth. Even being his concubine would already be a lofty ascent for me. I know I am not very literate and my horizons are limited, but I really do not understand the person who has cared for me for more than 20 years can turn hostile in an instant, disheartened and discouraged, thinking, if I die, I die. To avoid being an eyesore, I stopped taking medicine and fell unconscious multiple times. When I woke up again, my younger daughter stood at the head of the bed, looking pale and worn out. She said, "Big brother's leg was broken. Second brother has become a monk. Third brother, taking advantage of everyone's distraction, ran away from home to join the army, and there's elder sister as well, she spoke up for you. But father kept her locked in the room. Father even plans to marry her off to a coffin maker as a wife. He is nearly 80, with grandchildren all around, yet he only takes a concubine and has never taken a wife, all because his official rank is now the same as his father's." I suddenly widened my eyes. A sharp pain pierced my chest, and a mouthful of black blood spurt out. My younger daughter watched, under the flickering and dimming candlelight, gradually growing unfamiliar and grim. "You can't go on like this. If this continues, we'll all die. Father is no longer our father." When it comes to the children, my mind becomes clear. I barely managed to crawl up, carefully asking about the ins and outs. Only then did I know the real situation. The elder son, like me, did something stupid. Thinking that his father, who sees noble maidens for him, is choosing them for him, he naturally grew fond of that girl. Moreover, that girl was beautiful and exceptionally talented, and the eldest son began to feel attracted to her, yet his biological mother was inexplicably sent to the countryside. While the woman he loves is to become his legitimate mother, he could not accept it himself, had a big quarrel with his father, then, accused of coveting his legitimate mother in an affair, he had his legs broken. The second son was inherently sensitive and timid. Upon seeing this, he directly decided to become a monk. My third son was hot-tempered and single-minded about becoming a great hero. In the past I kept a close eye on him and did not let him go, fearing he would lose his life on the battlefield. Now no one watches over him, and he hates his father for not handling matters, so he ran off to join the army, swearing to become a great general. I will ruthlessly slap my father in the face. I clutch my chest, pained to the point of unable to breathe at this moment. All shamelessness and the pain of betrayal are cast far behind me. What I feel is only heartbreak, feeling heartache for my children. So heartbroken that words fail, I asked my daughter, "Did that woman come in?" My younger daughter said, "Next month we will move in. The gang tie wedding certificate has already been exchanged." Hearing this, I let out a sigh of relief. That's good, it's not too late yet. I looked at my younger daughter and spoke coldly, "Change your clothes with me. I want to return to the residence." She didn't curse at me again, nor did she ask me anything. She simply and efficiently took off her clothes and swapped them with me. She quickly tied her hair into a bun like hers and helped me do the same. I covered my face with a handkerchief, endured the discomfort, got into her sedan chair, and left the compound smoothly. After returning to the residence, I did not act rashly. Instead, I devoted myself to recovering and quietly contacting my trusted aides. Although I came from a lowly background and don't know much about worldly matters, after all I have been in charge of this household for many years, there are still a few trusted confidants. More or less, I want them to directly administer a yang-dispelling poison into my master's medicine. Once this medicine is taken, the man could no longer raise it. As soon as these words were spoken, they all knelt in front of me in unison, repeatedly kowtowing. "Lady, we dare not," I said coldly. "You all, and your descendants, are all dependent on me. Do you think the new mistress has entered the door and can accommodate you? But if you're willing to battle me, as long as he cannot take a wife, cannot father a child, this business still belongs to my son." They were of two minds, worried about their lives and livelihoods, but I wasn't that disappointed to begin with. If necessary, I can do it myself. I just need to rest for a few days. Once my body recovers and I regain some strength, I thought I could stay calm. But when I learned that my elder son's injured leg was seriously wounded and needed careful, long-term convalescence, otherwise he would end up with a lame leg, and my old master actually pays no heed, talking about shame, as if to have someone send him back to his hometown, after a long journey of carriage and horse, this is clearly meant to ruin my eldest son. Indeed, in these days, His actions clearly show that he no longer treats my sons and daughters as his own. It's just that he wants to marry into a noble family. He is about to have a child with noble blood. The child born to my concubine's womb would become a stumbling block to his noble offspring. That very night, I slipped into my master's bedroom and, with one stroke, severed the roots of his sins and ruined his long-cherished dreams. One dose of medicine is too cheap for him. I longed to saw him into pieces 1,000 times. When he woke up screaming, I couldn't help but laugh wildly. You still think of marrying into the high and mighty? Bah, I don't want to miss such a good marriage for you. So I'll betroth that woman to Zonga. He fell onto the bed, his body a mass of blood and flesh, his muscles trembling constantly. You vicious woman, I'm going to kill you. I will chop you into 1,000 pieces. At his command, I was tied up in 5 flower hemp restraints, waiting for disposal at any moment. I knew that this would undoubtedly seal my fate. Even if he could no longer have offspring in the future, he would never forgive me. Even if I am the biological mother of the children, but as long as he shall have no more offspring, as long as my children are safe and sound, I'm willing to risk everything for it, holding a fish and breaking the net with a determined resolve. His grotesqueness, quite ridiculous. I could not help but laugh out loud. What should I do? You will never be able to marry the noble lady you yearn for again. Is there any noble family willing to marry off their precious daughter to a eunuch who has lost his taint of sin? Who else would be willing to marry and live as a widow, with no children and no support, to endure the rest of her life in this inner chambers? Women live in the world, and their path is inherently thinner than that of other men, and these 4 square inner rooms are among the few places where women can seek refuge, descendants, the steward's authority, and the husband's favor. Lose any one of the 3, and it is a dead end, not to mention losing 2. But upon hearing this, he only glared at me with malice. Sweating all over in pain, grinding his teeth, he said, "Do you think that breaking me will make me yield the noble lady of the Geo family to you? I tell you, as long as I am not dead for a day, that noble woman of the Wang family will be my wife." Housing ancestor, that beast. I'm not dead yet, not his turn yet. I never would have thought that, even at this point. He has not given up the idea of marrying a noble woman from a prestigious family. I was dumped into the storeroom to fend for myself, with no water or food. Every day I rely on my 2 daughters secretly sending people to deliver me pastries to keep me alive. Hunger I can endure. I'm more afraid of what that crazy Zhao Yang might do to my child. Reason tells me it won't happen. No matter how crazy he is, he wouldn't lay a hand on his own children, and he can't have any more children now anyway. But that inescapable panic grips my insides like being burned by fire. I endure day after day. Finally, my younger daughter came to see me. Her face was smeared with ash and defeat, and she told me, "A courtesan took my peach." Let's not talk about the family business. I'm afraid there will be little chance of surviving in the days to come. My daughter told me that my husband, who has always been wholeheartedly devoted to me and refuses to take a second wife, is like this. In reality, there is not a shortage of women in the concubine's circle. In addition to the 5 children I bore, he has several concubines. He has always despised them for their humble origins, and wouldn't let them acknowledge their roots. But now, as things stand, he hates me and does not want my children to inherit the family business, so he picked out the most outstanding one and brought her back. Even though I had long been utterly disappointed in him, I did not expect that he would have already betrayed me. No, it can't be called betrayal, after all. He is my master, and in his eyes, I am nothing more than a tool to be used for the time being. But I don't understand, why does he have to pretend so well? He wants to marry a noblewoman from a prestigious family, and he keeps his thoughts hidden in his heart. I can understand, but a man having 3 wives and 4 concubines is a normal thing. Why doesn't he take concubines into the mansion, instead going outside to flirt and father children? The younger daughter heard this and gave a scornful smile. Of course it's for his good reputation. One man who, besides the necessary concubines and legitimate children, remains clean in conduct, and a man who dallies with both women and men, unrestrained by anything. Which one do you think those high-born and noble households would choose? Actually, I wasn't unaware of these words, but Zhao Yang keeps opening my eyes over and over. My heart is filled with extreme sarcasm. She laughed softly, and as she did, tears welled up in her eyes. Seeing this, The younger daughter's face showed a hint of impatience again. Now the household has blocked the news, it can't be spread at all, no one knows what happened at this house. I've already looked into it clearly. The noblewoman who is about to marry in is famous for being jealous and cruel. If she marries in and finds out she's been deceived, then she doesn't want to die, she wants to live a grand, glamorous life. I know my daughter's character very well. I used to think she was too competitive and eager to win. Only now do I realize that people like her, when trapped in a dead end, will struggle to live at all costs, but there is no other move. He has already eradicated everyone in this mansion, all my people. But, if you plead once more, go beg your grandmother and try to move her old heart. My tactic wasn't a failure, at least their lives are spared. Looking at other families, any father who marries a noblewoman into the family, the elder son of the front has all perished or been maimed, and now, each of his children is precious beyond measure. Furthermore, compared to those raised outside, naturally my children are more favored by the family. My heart is filled with sorrow, and I can only grasp this lifeline tightly, but my little daughter gritted her teeth and stomped hard. I will never surrender. Those wild spawn outside also will not tread on my head. She walked away resolutely. No matter how I called, I could not be summoned back the next day. I was dragged out from the storeroom because I hadn't eaten for so long. My limbs were soft and I lay on the ground, and a person who looked like a tooth broker stepped forward, pried open my mouth, and carefully examined my teeth. A twinge of panic rose in my heart, and then I heard the old toothless hag say, "This woman is of advanced age. Even if she is sold to a brothel, she is not worth much at all." I let out a roar and cried out, "I have given him 5 children. If I enter a brothel, how will my 5 children ever face anyone?" Zhao Yang's trusted aide, the Zhao's butler, looked at me with a complex gaze. Second Miss sent someone to spread rumors about young Master Yarrow, say that he was born in a brothel, not the master's son. Also say that he is the offspring of a prostitute, not worthy to inherit the family business, provoking the clan elders to anger and come to question. The master said, since the second young lady looks down on those born of prostitutes, then he should also consider him a half-wild child born of a prostitute. Crazy, crazy. Zhao Yang has gone mad at this moment. I only hate that I didn't directly kill Zhao Yang back then, but on second thought, I did want to kill Zhao Yang. The reason I didn't act is that if I had killed him, I would have been sentenced to the death penalty. My children are the sons of a crime. The mother kills father offspring. I can never lift my head to face people in this life again. It's more miserable than death. When Auntie Ya grabbed me and led me outside, I suddenly had strength from somewhere and shoved her hard. I slammed straight into the pillar, and even if I die, I must die with my head held high and clean. I can't let my child bear the blame because of me. When I wake up again, I find myself in my former bedroom, glorious and lavish. Just as I thought all of this was only a dream, pain prickles at my temple. I hold my head, unable to contain a low moan. The wound is real, which means what happened is real. Am I not dead? Then I shouldn't go back to my original bedroom. I am hesitant, but this room was locked, and besides 3 meals a day with someone delivering them at set times, no one could speak to me, and no matter how I asked, the person delivering the meals kept silent until a month later, with drums and bells resounding, the eldest daughter came and released me. Her eyes were red and swollen, her complexion was haggard, she looked as if there was a faint hint of anger hidden somewhere. She said, "My younger sister married the general who maintains the nation. Zhao Yang is afraid of offending the general who maintains the nation, so he let us off. Moreover, mother, in the future you will also be a legitimate wife, with honor and propriety." I felt no joy at all. Instead, it was like a bucket of ice water poured over my head. General who pacifies the nation, is that the general who is already 70 years old and most fond of young women? The eldest daughter nodded with tears streaming down her face and told me, the younger daughter planned to use her family background to ruin that son of a prostitute. Yet, Zhao Yoni would rather endure the elder's grip than spare them. After I collided with a pillar and sought death, my youngest daughter volunteered to seek the general of the nation's guard, the national defense captain, residence. As everyone knows, the general of the nation's guard has already worn out 3 wives and has long wished to take a wife in another household. It has to be a young lady of noble birth. Given the standing of the Zhengguo general's estate, it should not be difficult, but the general has already spoken. any wife he takes after this will, at his death, commit suicide to accompany him. My younger daughter, in order to save me, in order to save her brother and sister, she sacrificed herself. My heart aches so much I can barely bear it. Fallen ill and unable to recover 3 days later, at my youngest daughter's homecoming banquet, I couldn't attend at all. It was still her who came to the sickbed to check on me. When I saw her, tears flowed down my face in a rush. It's me, I'm the one who owes you an apology. If only I hadn't become this concubine, because I am a concubine, so my children are of humble birth and can be discarded at will. If I were the wife, they would be proper legitimate heirs, I mutter softly, but my little daughter simply said, this has nothing to do with whether you are a wife or a concubine. Zhao Yang is simply a cruel and cold-hearted man. So what if you're his wife? So what if we're legitimate children? He wants to climb higher, and we are just stepping stones. Over these 20-odd years, you've been spoiled by Zhao Yang into behaving like an idiot. Now, it's time to wake up and stand up. With me backing you up, you can oppose Zhao Yang. As long as you and your brothers can obtain this family's assets, you will be my greatest support. In the future, I may not need to send that old thing to his grave as a sacrifice. I have always believed that the eldest son is steady, the second son unambitious, and the third son reckless. The eldest daughter is gentle and graceful, and the youngest daughter is domineering, spoiled, willful, and selfish. In the end, she was the one who saw it most clearly. I, with tears in my eyes, listened to every word of her reminders, nodding continually. She said she had sent a message to the Gaomen who were engaged to Zhao Yenda, and they were willing to marry their daughter to my eldest son. She said she had set her eyes on a girl from a merchant family, and would betroth her to her third brother. Although traders may be considered lowly, their wealth cannot be ignored, and they asked me to quickly bring back her third brother to arrange the betrothal. She said she had found a good family for her sister as well, and asked me to quickly arrange the betrothal to prevent future difficulties. I took care of each matter one by one, until the marriages of the children were settled. Xiao Yang has suddenly changed his mind again. He came into my room and spoke to me. At this point, the two of us should make peace. Help me restore my image in the children's minds. I no longer count the things you have done to me. Upon hearing this, my eyes flicked, and I instinctively glanced at his lower body. His face was a little tense, but he still tried to reach for my hand, to be tender and affectionate with me. Do you feel surprised or puzzled? Not really. Although these years, he has deceived me a lot. But there is one thing he has never deceived me about, that is, he is adept at reading the situation and adjusting his approach. No matter how much humiliation he has suffered, no matter how big a blow he has taken, as long as he is given enough benefits, he can smile and reconcile. He once really wanted to kill me and a few of my children, but now my younger daughter is thriving at the general's mansion, my several children each have good marriages, he would naturally be willing to come and accept us. Speaking of which, the reason he chose me in the first place was also because you have a gentle temperament, naive and pure. Once you enter the door, you won't cause trouble or stir up trouble. After you come in, you must behave and stay put. Don't ask about things you shouldn't ask. What he valued was precisely how easy I am to handle, and I really am not easy to pin down. Seeing him soften, I thought he really wanted to let it go from now on, but my younger daughter's face suddenly surfaced in my mind. If she knew, I'm afraid she would be very happy too. After all, a family that fully supports you from behind is better than a family that fights among themselves. Of course the former is better. She instructed me. The ones outside. All those wild seeds, I've dealt with them one by one. The children of Zhao Yang are just a few of us. If Zhao Yang shows you goodwill, you should make up with him. Our interests can be pulled together as one. I nodded through my tears and agreed to Zhao Yang's reconciliation request. That night, he slept in my room. He has become an incapable eunuch, but he has never dared to let others know about it, so he must need a cover, and I am an unfortunate old concubine who has fallen out of favor. Resting with me, he naturally can sleep only, as if it were proper. These few sentences are also what he told me. Now he has become too lazy to hide in front of me, and he bluntly says that I am just a shield. He also told me to get rid of all those women outside him one by one. Otherwise those women would pester him and sooner or later would be exposed. His arrangements were tidy and comprehensive. He pays no regard to the possibility that I might bear the sin of jealousy, be denounced by a 1,000 people, and be rebuked by the clan elders, I answered in silence, turning my head. The very next day, while we pretend to be affectionate and admire the flowers by the lake together, I held him and jumped into the lake with him. I clutched him tightly, pinning his head down, just to drown him. I am Zhao Yang's concubine. It is the girl who warms his bed. It is the tool for him to continue the family line. It is the wooden man he uses to showcase the scholar official image. Later, it becomes the curtain to cover his shame. It is his blade against his former bedmate, my temperament, my preferences, my body, my reputation, all used by him completely, because I am stupid, because my mind is not clear, because my vision is limited. I could not resist him at all, to the extent that he harmed my children. But even so, it is not enough. He still wants me to bear the infamous reputation of jealousy. He wants to use me to coerce his children, a mother's origins, character, abilities, and talents. Influence her children, even her grandchildren. Zhao Yangyuan is willing. Then I dismiss his concubines, which is natural, the demeanor of the main wife. Zhao Yangyuan complains a little. Then I would be the greatest jealous woman in the world, shaming the children. The scariest part is that this is only a few of his orders. In the future, if he wants to control the children through me, he has much better methods. I can't break free from his control because I am his concubine. Oh, no, I am not a concubine anymore now. I am his wife. So what if that is the case? He is my husband, he is my master. It is only natural that he can treat me as a puppet and control me for life. If he doesn't let me go, I can't leave. Even if I once severed the root of his misdeeds, he can still go on taming me in the same way. After all, he has given the greatest sincerity. Let my children inherit the family business then. Naturally, I must yield for the sake of the children and choose to submit. But what gives? He has controlled me my whole life. Now he's suffered a big loss, and he pretends to be this hypocritical person, trying to manipulate me in another way. I want to kill him. Thinking of this, I gripped even harder. Zhao Yang kept struggling until, at last, his body stiffened. Then, he softened and collapsed. I did not let my guard down. Holding his body, I sank directly into the lake water. Before marrying Zhao Yang, I am a boatwoman with excellent swimming skills. For me, swimming in water is freer than running on land. Since I married into the Zhao family, I can no longer be with water. The rules on this land bind me one by one, making me afraid to break free and afraid to think of the past. I am forced to rely on Zhao Yang, to flatter and seek my life, completely forget myself. Fortunately, my daughter helped me remember myself again. A woman, as long as she is willing to take the plunge, can still carve her way out of this damned worldly life. No matter how big the waves, it's time to fight for a chance, rather than stand by and wait for death. Until it was certain that Zhao Yang could not die anymore, I finally surfaced, and was pulled up by the servants of the Zhao family. My younger daughter also came. As I passed by her, I said to her, "See, mother is a good swimmer. Even if you were drowning, mother could save you." The younger daughter froze. Later, General Zhenguo suddenly died. According to the last words he left, my younger daughter must be buried with him. So my younger daughter, without thinking twice, jumped into the water. The people from the general's mansion fished and fished but could never retrieve the corpse, and they had to erect a clothing and crown tomb for her. At that time, I had already taken my younger daughter and returned to my homeland. The fish is trapped in a shallow shoal. Rather than merely surviving in that single pool of clear water for a short while, it should strive to extend its life, waiting for what comes next, only to be dried to death in the sun. Might as well make a desperate leap. Who knows, maybe it could escape to a new life. The full text ends. Today's story ends here. If you enjoy this video, please give me a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, you can leave a comment. See you in the next video.